Hi everyone. I received some guidance and insight recently that felt really helpful for me personally. And I also felt a strong nudge to share it with you because it also feels like it could be supportive to those who might encounter this video. And that's actually something that I want to do more often because I'm often receiving insights and guidance and intuitive hits and channeling things, I suppose, that I don't share for various reasons. That fear comes in and all sorts of resistance and blockages and procrastination, which I know I'm not alone in, but that's something that I want to do more often with, with for you and for me. And that's actually very relevant to the theme that I want to share with you for this week. And it's to do with the kind of flow of receiving and releasing, with the emphasis being more on releasing. So this is something that kind of was a bit perplexing to my mind at first, and then it really landed with me. And I was sort of shown how, in not releasing more of what's inside of me and releasing from that deeper place within, it's like creating a blockage. And so I'm unable to receive more then. And I suppose for many of us, especially as women, the emphasis has been a lot more on receiving more kind of nourishment and being more resourced in our lives and trying to avoid the depletion cycles that we can get into. And that's all really, really important. But I was really struck by how a lot of the kind of energetic depletion that I have experienced, in recent times, and a lot of the kind of, it can be like even physical exhaustion it can show up as. And a real stuckness is not necessarily to do with needing more sleep. Some of it is, or more fun, or, energetic nourishment, or like receiving more. It's because I'm not releasing more of what's inside of me that wants to be expressed. So I'd love to hear if that is something that resonates with you. But just to kind of explain a little bit more, it's also about like the flow, completing the flow of releasing and receiving, to kind of continue the flow and not clogging, like jamming up the circuit. But it's doing it from a deeper level. So I'm not talking about just kind of receiving information from the head, from the mind, or from our ear, like receiving information intellectually and then sharing your response to that, or like that's one part of it. But this was really strongly about receiving and releasing from our deeper selves, like deeper down in ourselves, from more of who we are kind of deeper inside. And at a very practical level, one way that helps me sort of do that in a more natural, organic way without it being a big deal is to drop more into the heart center and the belly center in a very simple way. So it's not necessarily about, you have to go into a cave and like kind of find out more of who you really are and what's in your soul to be expressed. Like that's some of it. That's something, if you are feeling drawn to that, that's one way of connecting, of course, more deeply. But it's really more about kind of allowing that flow of what is wanting to just be expressed through you to happen, and to observe where you're being blocked and what might be blocking that. And so just to kind of keep this really simple and not make it feel like it's really out of reach, or like it's about releasing your life's work, which it might be about at this point, or like releasing, like a podcast episode, or releasing like something really, really big. It could just be kind of uttering something that is circling in your mind, but you haven't really expressed it verbally yet to yourself or to others. You could say it out loud to yourself in the shower. And it's kind of connecting back the head center to the heart center to the belly center, to sort of dare to express your heart's desires or your body's wants, what's sitting in your pelvis, to breathe a bit more from the diaphragm and just kind of drop back down into yourself enough so that flow can happen. But it's really keeping it very simple. So I hope this is kind of a useful image, or however you're receiving it, because our minds can make it like two opposite things, or kind of make it contradictory, and you're like sort of scrambling over here to go, where can I receive more support in my life or in my business? And that's really important as well. But this is just a very simple kind of connecting the two. And it's not just looking at, okay, now I need to stop looking at receiving and now I need to focus on releasing. It's both of those, and it's just completing that kind of like releasing enough bit by bit as you feel comfortable to do so, that you can kind of receive something new. And you can think of it in very practical terms, like if you release the pent up stress energy that's in your body, like I did earlier on. I was kind of a little bit in a confusion loop and going, oh, what do I need? Do I want a cup of tea, or do I need to go out, or do I need to meditate, or do I need to write this thing, because I had some like free time. And then I was like, I dropped in, take a breath at the heart, breath at the belly, really just simply, quickly enough. And then it was like, I need to move my body and release this excess energy. Went to the park, and then by releasing that, I was able to receive kind of clarity from within, not by listening to somebody else's things or information, not by kind of going outside of ourselves, but by receiving from within and releasing from within. So I think that's all that I wanted to share about that. I have some resources that can help you kind of drop into yourself in quite a simple way, like 3-minute meditations. If you just need, sometimes we need to kind of be held in that, because it can feel, challenging to go within. And I'm well aware of all the reasons why it's not comfortable to drop into our bodies. For me, it was not a comfortable place to reside or hang out in or even visit temporarily for a long, long time. So there's a lot of emotions, a lot of tension and stress and all sorts of things. But it's a kind of an ongoing practice. So you can check out the resources on my resource portal. You can link through to that from my website. And I'm going to be running a women's circle on Monday, the 13th of February. And in fact, the next 2 women's circles that I'm running, I realized just when I was about to start this video, I thought, oh, this ties in so neatly and I wasn't consciously aware of it, because the next 2 circles will be focused on the heart center and then on the womb center as well. So the heart healing and womb wisdom, just as a kind of a theme or a hook to kind of bring us into that more deep presence to what is wanting to be expressed from within. So if you want to attend that, you can, click through to the links that are going to be posted alongside this video, wherever you're picking it up, and be held in a space where that's maybe a little bit easier to kind of drop into yourself out of the ordinary everyday life busyness. And just to kind of reiterate, like, it's not about making it a big deal and like, oh, I've been procrastinating for so long, now I need to go and do the big thing. Just doing it in really simple ways. As I said, like verbalizing something that has been kind of inside of you in a very simple way, like, I think I need this right now. Or it's also kind of releasing, just like shining your energy. Like, it could be making a movement or making a dance that feels like really you and uncensored. So if you need to do that in a private space and dance like nobody's watching, that's one way to do it. But there's something really beautiful about completing that loop and being witnessed in it. So we witness ourselves in it and then allow other people to see us do that as well. It can be kind of like making bodily noises, like releasing, wind or gas, or like it sounds really basic, but there's many different ways that we can do it. For some people, it's tuning into their hearts by drinking a cup of cacao or something, or doing qigong or tai chi to get into the belly center. It's like whatever can drop you back out of this superficial kind of loop that's like quite limiting, because it's hard to break those patterns in the head. Whereas when we come down into ourselves more deeply, we can find something new, hear something new inside of ourselves, express something new and unique that is only going to be expressed through you. And it doesn't have to be earth-shatteringly important. It can be putting a new item of clothing on in a different way, or earrings, or drawing or doodling something. That is enough to express something that is your unique soul frequency. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Practice the little versions of that loop. And breathing back down into yourself to come back into that flow again and again and again. And when you find yourself up in the mind loops, it's like, that's okay, just drop back in. So I hope that helps some of you, and I'm committing to sharing more of these, this guidance that I receive often for myself, but that often feels very, when I, get over that blockage in myself, then, and I verbalize it to others, it often resonates. And then I'm like, well, why didn't I say this more often? And it kind of feels a bit like a kind of energetic constipation in a way. And that might be one image that you can keep or not. It's just about really allowing that flow through releasing, so that more, nurturance can come in. And of course we receive some of it from outside of ourselves. We're social beings, but really the message for this time and this week and these coming days was to receive from within and release from within. So I'll leave it at that for now. And I look forward to hearing if it resonated with any of you. Have a good week.